I'm Trey Tucker. I'm a licensed therapist. Let's dive right into episode 4 of Last of Us. The opening scene has Ellie holding a gun into a mirror and she's discovering power. Or maybe rediscovering power. We don't know her past yet. She likes power. And it reminds us of the expression on her face in the first episode when she sees Joel beat the Fedra agent to death. She's fascinated by that display of power. She's actually drawn to it. She likes it. She wants to be dangerous like Joel. She wants to prove herself. See, when people are in situations that are out of their control, they look for control and power wherever they can grab it. It makes us feel safer, more certain to know that I can do something, even if it's small, about my fate. Plus, Ellie having the gun gives her an outlet for that part of herself that so desperately wants to fight and take action. And because she grew up without parents, this belief got installed in her from a young age that I am on my own. There's nobody I can really lean on. And if it's going to happen, it's 100% up to me. The gun gives her a sense of confidence, but it's a temporary fix. If that gun gets taken, she probably hasn't gone through enough testing and training in this world yet, which means her inner confidence and readiness aren't as strong yet as they need to be. She knows that, and that's why almost every question she asks Joel has to do with fighting or shooting the enemy. It's her way of getting prepared, being ready to prove herself.
Those people you said. There's no way anyone knows we're here, right? No one's gonna find us.
No one's gonna find us.
No one's gonna find us. Ellie says it almost as a question rather than a statement. Joel says it as a definitive statement. She needs reassurance just like we all do. We need to know we're gonna be okay. And not having that parent or guardian give us that sense of safety when we're young is one of the biggest causes of anxiety and depression in adults.
It doesn't matter how much you push the envelope, it'll still be stationary. No pun intended. Volume 2 by Will Livingston. Volume 2. Look, you get it? 2, like T-O-O. What did the mermaid wear to her math class?
Joel and Ellie have a lot of things in common, and one of them is that they each have the love language of sarcasm. They actually bond through teasing each other, and that happens a lot in real life too. But at first, Joel shuts down those pun jokes because he feels like he needs to stay unattached, avoidant. His experience has taught him that getting attached to someone inevitably leads to the pain of losing them. And he's built up walls inside to keep that from ever happening again. But he slowly lets his guard down by answering some of Ellie's questions and starting to a little bit play along with those pun jokes. And you can tell he's reluctant to do it, but there's also a part of him that just can't help it. There's a kinship there. They respect and like each other, and they actually bond through roasting each other and through sarcasm.
What's his name?
Whose name?
Your brother.
Tommy.
Younger or older?
Younger.
Why isn't he with you?
Long story.
Is it longer than 25 hours? Because I think that's what we got.
Tommy's what we used to call a joiner. Dreams of becoming a hero. So he enlists in the army right out of high school. Point is, being in the army didn't make him feel much like a hero. Cut to 12 years later, outbreak happens. He convinces me to join a group making their way up to Boston, which I did. Mostly to keep an eye on him, keep him alive. So when Tommy meets Marlene, she talks me to join in the Fireflies. Same mistake he made when he was 18. Wants to save the world. Pipe dream, him, Fireflies, all of them. Delusional. Of course, last I heard he quit the Fireflies too. So now he's on his own out there, and
If you don't think there's hope for the world, why bother going on? I mean, you gotta try, right?
you haven't seen the world, so you don't know. You keep going for family. That's about it.
I'm not family.
No. You're cargo. But I made a promise to Tess. And she was like family.
While on the outside, Joel is venting about Tommy to Ellie, he's really having an argument with himself out loud. He's not just talking about Tommy, he's talking about that hero part of himself. He doesn't even really want it because it's too painful to hope, but he can't kill that part of himself either. When he tells her he only rescues family and that she's not family, she's just cargo, he's really just trying to convince himself. He can't let himself admit that she's starting to break through those walls. And he's also carrying around this burden, this guilt he feels from the things he did from the past that still haunt him. Tess referenced it right before she died when she told him to set things right from the past. And later in the episode, we find out that he killed innocent people. So it makes sense that part of his motive for protecting and saving people is an attempt to wipe away his guilt from the past. Rescuing and protecting is part of who he is now, and he doesn't want it because it brings pain. But there's no way he can separate himself from it because it's part of his identity.
I know what it's like. First time that you hurt someone like that. If you, well, I'm not good at this.
Yeah, you really aren't.
I mean, it was my fault. You shouldn't have had to. And I'm sorry.
Joel and Ellie's connection goes deeper after she saves him by shooting Brian. And Joel does two things to make that connection deeper. He apologizes and he opens up. When we apologize and really mean it, it causes people to move our direction and respect us and like us. We realize just how far from perfect we are. So when we open up and show our flaws and our mess inside, it makes us more relatable. The second thing he did was he got vulnerable and he told her a little bit about his past. He was trying to empathize with her by saying, hey, I know what it feels like to shoot somebody for the first time, just like you just did. And when we get vulnerable and tell something private about ourselves first, it causes people to feel closer to us and usually causes them to open up too. They appreciate being trusted with meaningful parts of us and they want to reciprocate that trust.
It wasn't my first time.
And Ellie does just that when she cries and tells Joel that it wasn't her first time shooting someone. And later when she tells Joel she doesn't want to talk about that experience, that's totally understandable because that is a major, major trauma.
Hey,
Yeah?
when we were talking about hurting people, what did you mean it wasn't your first time?
I don't want to talk about it.
It also shows two things about her. Number one, it shows she hasn't really processed that trauma. See, in this world they live in, they have to just keep going. They can't look back and deal with the stuff they've seen and done. In order to survive, they got to stuff all that down and keep moving ahead. It also shows that she's not fully ready to let down her guard around him yet. She's letting it down slowly, and she's actually been the one that's taken the initiative to try to break through Joel's walls, but she still has a lot of them up on her own.
Did you know diarrhea is hereditary?
What?
Yeah. It runs in your genes.
She lightens the mood with a pun, and after serious, intense times, we all need lightheartedness and humor. It helps us recharge so we can be ready for the next tough time. And this time when she makes the joke, Joel tries to resist it, but he's quickly overcome by the laughter. It's an awesome scene because it shows she has broken through that fortress he's built up around his heart for so long, and they're starting to become family.
Joel!
But the last scene of the episode reminds us why they are so reluctant to hope. Any moments of peace, joy, laughter, they're all short-lived in this world because there's always another threat waiting just around the corner.